Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, a.k.a. Queen, joined by Geoff Klafter, from Clyde and Pearl to JB and Cat, author of the Happily Ever Klafter daily sports blog, link in the description, Ajay the Villain. Listen, he's real cheap with the comments. So if your comments is not, making it, look to Ajay. He's in charge of the comments going forward. I might start one here and there. How are you guys doing? Shout out to the chat, by the way.
Great, Queen. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you, Geoff, and Jerrell when he's here. Salute to Jerrell.
Yes,
Delusional, whoever joins us here on Thursday, it's a good night, man. It's a good day to talk about Knicks.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, listen, we're gonna start right with the big fat elephant in the room. Cat and Jerrell and Brunson made the All-Star team. Not just made the All-Star team, starters, right? It was a little touch and go for JB, but the media and the rest of it, the NBA players came through and voted him in, and he's a starter. And this is the first time the Knicks have had two starters in the All-Star game since Clyde Frazier and Earl the Pearl Monroe back in 1975, 50 years ago. That's significant. Just your take on any aspect of it, Geoff. Player aspect, organization aspect. Leave a little meat on the bone for the rest of us. But what's your take?
Well, I think it speaks volumes to the front office. I mean, kudos to Leon Rose. Those are his two big acquisitions, really. I mean, Brunson via free agency and the Cat trade obviously was, the linchpin of this offseason. So shout out to him, but mostly just a credit to those two players. I mean, I think what they have in common is it's like as far as Brunson is concerned, we haven't had point guard play quite like his in my lifetime, with apologies to Mark Jackson and Stephon Marbury. We've had some decent guards in here, but I don't think any of them is quite on the level of the play that we've seen from Jalen. And then Karl Anthony Towns is the best center we've had since Patrick Ewing, and really just transformative as far as I'm concerned with this franchise. It's just he unlocks the offense in so many ways, and he just makes this team a lot more fun to watch. I mean, he's dynamic. I love his game on offense. He's so smooth. He's deadly from deep. He can put the ball on the deck and you look foolish. He, like, a couple of the finishes he had in that Nets game were just like, who could even do that? Like, just, he has so much finesse and he's so strong at the same time. It's really just a delight to watch. And that's what this team has been. And so kudos to those guys. And first time in my lifetime, because I was born in 1975, but it was in November. So that would have been after the All-Star game. So first time in my lifetime to have two All-Star starters is pretty special.
Yeah, for sure. Ajay?
And don't forget to mention, we're the only team with multiple starters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the league, the only team to have two starters in the All-Star game is the New York Knicks. I don't think I need to say anything more about that. I mean, that speaks volume right there. There are 10 spots. We occupy 2 of them, and the rest of the team scramble for the other 8.
Yeah.
So
for sure. I want to point out just what a turnaround this organization has, and obviously a championship would be the culmination of it, but this is a really good reflection point as well. I don't know, was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Definitely 6, 7, 8. This organization, in my opinion, was an absolute shit show. Like it just really was, and it was like that for a significantly long time. People were pointing to the owner, fine, the front office, but even the coaching, we just couldn't get out of our own way, no matter what we did. The laughing stock of the entire NBA. I was listening to a Law and Order, an old Law and Order, and the Knicks were a punchline in one of the episodes, and that's basically how it's been. And Leon Rose came in, and say what you want to say. He didn't have the experience. He was an agent. He knew enough. He knew enough to assemble a crack front office, right? And as much as he could, got the best people in each spot, pulling from different organizations. And he took the slow road, and it was a bit too slow for me, to be honest, as well. But he took the slow road in terms of the salary cap, in terms of grooming the young players, and in terms of deciding who was going to stay, who wasn't, cashing in the chips when it was advantageous for the team, when he felt like this would move the team forward. I think that OG and Anobi trade was when the line was drawn in the sand that, okay, we're going to take, JB was a step, don't get me wrong. But that OG trade was like, okay, we're taking the next step now. And to see this organization go from where we were 6, 7 years ago to where we are right now with two all-stars starting. We've had two all. I mean, I think if Jules, he was voted an all-star though, even though he didn't play, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Right. But to have two all-stars starting, and let you know the respect that they're getting around the league. Because remember, at least for Jalen Brunson, he didn't really get the fan vote. I mean, he was fourth, I think. He got some fan votes, don't get me wrong. But it was the media and the players that voted him in, that got him in over the top. And what that tells me is that the Knicks players, if not the organization, is getting respect in the media and around there. Like they're being recognized that, this is a good organization. These players can play. When was the last time we had that? It's been a really long time. And like I said, this is just a mini reflection point. MINI. And hopefully when we win the championship, that would be a major reflection point. But kudos to those guys. And to Ajay's chagrin, kudos to Tom Thibodeau. Karl Anthony Towns came here. He's having his best season as a pro. And that's happened for a lot of players who've come to the Knicks of late. Not everybody, shout out to Cam Reddish, but for a lot of players who've come to the Knicks of late, they've had career years under Tom Thibodeau, and so the fact that Karl Anthony Towns has a specific game and Tibbs didn't just bring him in and stick him up underneath the in the rim on the box and make him into something he's not. Like really revamped our offense to take advantage of his skill set. And Karl Anthony Towns took advantage of it as well. And here we are. And the Knicks aren't perfect this season, cardiac Knicks, struggling in games that, in my opinion, probably a lot of fans' opinion, we should be winning with flying colors. But when you look at the results, the Knicks were, I don't know, I think it was the fastest to 29 games in I don't know how long, 29 wins, I should say, and I don't know how long. Still third place in the East, on pace to win more games than last year. And we've scratched the surface, but we've leaving a lot of meat on the bone. So there's a lot of room for in improvement. Anything else on those two guys?
I just want to quickly say that in terms of votes, I think they both got third in third place.
They were third. Okay.
In vote getters.
Okay.
Jalen Brunson at the front court and Cat Jalen Brunson in the back court and Cat in front.
I see. That was the final vote, and they were both in third place. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and yeah. Do you think, I haven't listened. It was just announced today. Boston is in second place, only has one starter. Cleveland is in first place,
First
excuse
place.
me, only has one starter. I don't give a damn. But do you think there's gonna be? Do you think, when the dust settles tomorrow, that there's gonna be people outside of the Knicks anyway who feel like the Knicks should not have sent two starters?
Should not have sent, or should I? What do you mean?
That maybe somebody else deserved to be there other than the Knicks having two representatives.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. That happens every year. Even with us, sometimes we feel like certain teams, like our guy, deserve to be in, and not such and such guy from such and such team. That's definitely going to happen. I'm sure Shaquille O'Neal is going to find like 10 players ahead of Carl Anthony Towns or Jalen Brunson that should have went to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
But fact is, those two guys are in, so Shaq could pull out, well, not his hair, like whatever, but it happened. So
Yeah. And listen, they would have been there whether they started or not. They would have been there. I think both of them.
Queens, not to cut you off. You can make a case that we should probably have a third All-Star game. If you look at
the reserves haven't been.
if you look at Josh Hart's play and consistency, he's probably, in terms of the amount of double-doubles or triple-doubles he's had this season, I mean, this guy's playing top-notch. He's leading the league in a lot of categories, especially as a guard. Like, he's up there and rebounded, like all these hustle plays and all that stuff. Like, you can make a case that this guy at least should be, a reserve in the All-Star game.
Would you be surprised? I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Would you?
No. I'm saying, like, you can make a case that he belongs there. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised. I would be like, yeah, he belongs in there.
Don't be ruining Josh Hart's All-Star break buns. He wants to go someplace where there's a beach, bro. Don't be putting that in there. Don't be making him go to do work. He wants to play on the beach. You got to let him do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I thought OG had a shot, right? Remember that stretch he was on? I was like, wow, this guy's playing out of his mind. That's not the that's not the case. I'd be surprised, I should say. But I think Josh Hart has he has a shot. He has a shot. Do you think sometimes when you make the All-Star game, it's a boost of confidence? Players may play better after being named and recognized. Do you think that's something that would happen with these two guys? Do you think their confidence is, already high?
So I don't know if it matters confidence-wise, but I think it was important to Jalen Brunson to be recognized and to be called a starter. I really do. I think, for a guy who's undersized and everybody is always saying he can't, he's too this, he's too that, he's a foul merchant and this, that, and the other. I think for him to get that validation for a guy who was a second round pick and those sorts of things, I think is important. Now for Cat, I don't know, he's kind of been around the block a little bit more, and it's kind of been more, he was the number one overall pick, so it was more of a expectation, I would say, with him that he would rise to the ability level of his talent. So I'm not sure as much with him, but I think it definitely I think it's important to both players just to get the recognition.
Yeah. Do you think it's important to the organization?
Absolutely, because it shows improvement. It shows a step forward. It shows, it shows where you stand, compared with the other teams. You know what I'm saying? Like what caliber player you have on your roster. When you have two guys that make the All-Star team. So, and Queen, I want to answer. Like there's a it's a double-edged sword with what you just asked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, on one end, players may feel better, they feel comfortable and more confident to play, but also the rest of the league's gonna be coming at you because you're an all-star. Oh, you think you all that now. So now they're gonna be coming at you even harder than they were. You gotta remember, these guys are competitive and they look at little things like that. So they're gonna be game planning for those guys moving forward.
And I would think if there's someone left off the team who felt they should be on the team, even more so in that, in that situation. Jaylen Brown didn't make the team as a starter. Garland didn't make the. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if it really. To me, I don't know if it really matters too much whether. I get it. When you're a starter, it's like, wow. I'm start, and I get it. But I just think making the team is the most important thing. But I get it. How players want to start. There's no shame to be voted in. So Jaylen Brown will get in. Darius Garland will get in. But there's going to be good players that's going to be left off. There's just no doubt about it. And if Josh Hart gets in, because I think there's coaches around the league, like somebody like Spo, for example, who really appreciates what Josh Hart does. Like there's certain coaches who see that guy that's not the leading scorer on the team, that super glue. That's good. That super glue guy, and want to reward him. So I do think he has a shot. I think if the Knicks only had one starter, I don't think he would have had. I don't think they would have voted in two reserves. But I do think he has he has a shot. Let's get to the chat, and the phones are open actually if anybody wants to call on this segment. Actually, let me go ahead, Andrew.
All right, look at the chat real quick. Salute to JJ. What's up, JJ? Always rocking with us, man. Salute to you, brother. JJ has a two-part comment here. Congrats to Cat and Brunson, well deserved. And part 2 is I've never seen two Knicks starting in an all-star game.
Yeah.
Well, like Queen said, this hasn't happened in like 50 years or something like that.
50 years. Yeah.
So,
and I'll actually watch the All-Star game this time. Though, when is the All-Star game? It's like the 16th to the 20.
I have no idea.
Should be back.
No idea. I'll check.
Mhm.
And speaking of watching the All-Star game, shout out to Double D, said, hey, I'm glad both Brunson and Cat are starting in the All-Star game, but seriously speaking, the All-Star game sucked lately. They don't play hard like back in the day when the players had pride and something.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they've changed the format now, so it's going to be almost like a playoff style, 4 games, and the winners play each other. So I don't know, maybe that's different.
yeah, and I think that's the new design, which I don't know what it is. I don't understand it yet, but we'll see what it is. Is to increase the competitive nature of it, make it more of a serious game, because it's not, it's not just a game where people showing their scoring capabilities.
Right.
It's just more of a like real competition. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't watched the All-Star game in years. I mean, I've the game's on in the background. You peeked at it, especially when you have your guys in there. When Julius Randle was in there or Jalen Brunson was in there, just to monitor how many minutes these guys get. Is the coach is the coach hating on them? Are the guys passing them the ball? That sort of jazz. You're not really looking at the game, like the basketball value of the game, but but this year I'll be checking it out. Hopefully it's something different. So yeah, shout out to Double D for that one.
Well, the only time this year that Cat and Brunson will be under 36 minutes.
All right. Hopefully.
Right.
Let me see who else. Shout out to Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. First time I've ever voted for the All-Star team more than once, 5 times to be exact. Congratulations. Congrats to Kat and JB. Shout out to you.
Salute, Uncle Fulio. Been a
Yeah,
minute.
Come up on the panel, bro.
Yeah, why are you not on here with us? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Come on. Water's
drop in for a couple of minutes, bro. Jabroni Z says it was fun seeing the TNT guys clearly uncomfortable and hating that the Knicks have 2 starters. Listen, I gotta look that online because I didn't watch it. So was Shaq on there on the panel?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, how was? Oh, I gotta look that up.
Yeah, I was doing something else when it was announced. I just got a ping on my phone, and that's when I saw it. But yeah,
was he like mad quiet and like?
That's how I found out. Somebody sent me that they made the team. I didn't see the actual announcement.
Yeah, I didn't see the announcement. So I gotta look that up on YouTube. Shout out to Barbershop Sports Talk podcast, man. The evening,
For
y'all.
sure. Trey, my guy.
As Terry Jabell once said, "We back."
No doubt.
We back up. We back up. Knicks got 2 All-Star starters, first since Walt and Pearl, 50 years ago. And shout out to you for that one, man. Kevin Bergen says February 16th. That's when the All-Star game is.
Mm-hmm. When is it?
16th, February 16th.
Sunday. Okay, I'll be coming back by then. Okay. All right.
Steph, I can make the argument that some players don't even want to be selected, especially the guys who've been there over 5 times already. All-Star break's supposed to be about rest. Well, yeah, like Joshua said, he don't want nothing to do with the All-Star break, man. He wants the All-Star break to be a break. Okay,
wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
So all you coaches out there, don't select Josh Hart. He's terrible. He's a scrub. You don't want him.
I think he would be honored.
For itself, though.
He would be honored. But I think that some wouldn't mind the recognition and just not go.
Yeah.
I'm named an All-Star. That's great, but I won't be showing up for the game. If that option was there, I think a few of them would take it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Yeah. That's the number if you want to call into the show and give your thoughts on JB and Kat being named to.
One last one real quick. Kevin Bergen says Jaylen Brown and Darius Garland are guaranteed reserves. I agree with that. Those guys are playing. A couple of other guys on the Cleveland Cavaliers team too are playing like extremely well this year.
Yeah, so, because when you think about it, Donovan Mitchell is not the only one that has that team in first place. Tatum is not the only one that has that team in second place. So
those guys are balling up there.
Yeah. For sure. Somebody's going to be disappointed, though.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to be disappointed. All right, let's get into this week's game or the past week's game. A loss to Minnie, and then a win against Atlanta and here we go. I hope it comes through. Hello? All right. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. This happened before. I'm going to try to see what I can do. Oh, he hung up. He'll call back. Yeah. All right. It should be. All right. If he calls back, it should go through. Oh, here we go.
6829901-801. Call from
Lord Scientist, Brooklyn.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello there. Can everybody hear?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah. Hello, how are you? What you
Y'all
got
can-
for us?
Hey, y'all can hear me? Clear? Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Clear as a bell,
That
my
was
friend.
clear.
All right. Salute. I just really caught up that y'all was on. Like I missed the first 3 minutes. I was trying to listen and catch up, but daddy duties, arise. But needless to say, I was listening to the thing that y'all was just saying about the All-Star and the level of respect that it, for both our players and the organization, and I agree 100%. Somebody was telling me earlier about how they were mad with the facial expressions on TNT. But yo, check, this is what I wanted to ask y'all. Did y'all hear the situation, or have y'all spoken about the idiot Paul Pierce and KG saying that the All-Star, Blake Jerrell and them and Cat should pull Tibbs to the side about the minute situation? And I wanted to know if y'all heard about it, and what did y'all feel about them trying to put their 2 cents in as far as that's concerned.
I didn't hear that they should pull, that Cat and Brunson should pull Tibbs aside.
Yeah, and say, about the minutes and let the bench players play, and to give, OG and McHale and something about, them using too much minutes or whatever, and that they're not going to be able to sustain an 82-game season and then be able to still be 100% for the playoffs. It was some old fly stuff that KG and Paul Pierce were saying. I had heard about it through I think the Knicks recap. I think Troy, shout out to Troy. I think Troy had said it. I think that's where I heard it at, and he had spoke on it. So I was wondering if any of y'all heard it from their podcast. Not that nobody's really listening to Paul Pierce, but I know these two guys because at the time when they were playing for Boston, Tibbs was the assistant coach. You know what I mean? And they say how they know how Tibbs will play you and run you, whatever, and how he's done what he's done to, all his players,
Right.
AKA Derrick Rose, what have you. So I was wondering if y'all heard that.
Yeah, that's what I was at. Anybody heard that or want to comment on that?
So
yeah, I actually did hear that I saw the interview on Twitter or X, and I don't put much stock in it. Like, players want to play. I don't like if I think if they had a problem with their minutes load, they would probably go to the coach privately and say that. But I think all of us would, in an ideal world, would like the minutes distribution to be a little bit more distributed. I don't think, at least for me, I don't think it's really at healthy levels. I'd like to see them at least be getting 3 or 4 minutes more per night of rest. But part of it is our bench has been in shambles all year with injuries, so we haven't necessarily had guys that Thibodeau trusts to put in those situations. I think now that we have 9 guys, I think that have proven that they could contribute. I'm hoping that problem diminishes some, but we'll see.
We shall see. But we appreciate you calling. We got another call.
Queen, I want to say something.
But
No doubt.
Go ahead, Ajay.
I'm happy that I finally made it.
Yes. So
Thanks for calling me.
But yo, listen, I'm always listening. Trust that I'm always listening. Even if I miss the live, I get your read thing. It's I'll be missing you on the Nothing But Knicks Queens Court, because YouTube be hating on letting the live notifications come through. Like, even I was trying to call Sim one night and I didn't get the notification, and I'm like, how? I'm subscribed to the channel, been watching it for 5 years plus. Like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah, that happens to me too. I don't get notifications for MBK. I just don't. I don't know why.
But yeah, I'm gonna let the next caller get on and save time. Salute, Ajay. Salute,
Right.
Geoff.
Thanks,
Salute,
man.
Thanks
for
for
the call.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for the call.
Appreciate you.
All right, Queen. I want to say something about that real quick. So Listen, I don't like Paul Pierce. Okay, I like Kevin Garnett. Like he's one of my favorite players when he was playing because I like he played both sides of the ball. Like he was one of my guys. You know, I like to watch when I don't put a lot of stock in that. That Paul Pierce was. I just don't like him. Right, nothing wrong with his basketball. I just don't like that guy. All right. I think they're full of shit with their statement. When Tibbs was with Boston, okay, he had a different role. He was not the head coach. He was not determining who was on the court. He was not, he didn't determine what the rotation is. He was helping Doc Rivers. He was part of Doc Rivers' staff. Okay. So maybe he ran him hard in practice, but that's a different thing. Okay. I don't think you can call the coach, say, oh, maybe you running us too hard in practice, but in real game. So it wasn't the same situation. They were not in the same situation that Brunson and Cat and those guys are in. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he wasn't their head coach. So what they're saying to me doesn't make any sense because it was not the same situation.
Right.
Okay. He was not the head coach. So he was not the man making all these calls, like, who goes in, who goes out, who plays how many minutes and all that stuff.
Right.
So I don't put a lot of stock into it. I think they, clickbait. They talk about the Knicks and they know somebody, they're going to get a lot of hits and that's just it.
Yeah. Whoever the caller was, you can call back now. If you're going to call in, just wait till after the call ends and call. We have no way of putting you on hold. We played Minnie, we played Atlanta, we played Brooklyn 2-1 since we've last been here, since the last show, I should say. I thought the Atlanta win was impressive, and I know I thought it was a good win, and I know there may be some that's saying they were in what 6th, 7th, 8th place, whatever it is. How could you say that that's a solid win? But that's a team we don't really match up well against. They beat us twice already. I thought it was a good, solid win for the Knicks. Thoughts on the Atlanta game, and then or Minnie or Brooklyn, whatever you want to.
So the Atlanta game, it wasn't just a good win, Queen. It was a great win because Atlanta came in here to beat us and make a statement. And they tried very hard. They played very physical, and they came here to beat us down. All right. No, they make no mistake. They came here with a playoff mindset. We're gonna put our foot on these guys' necks, and we're gonna make a statement here against this team because you never know. We might meet them in the playoffs. Let's get this thing out of the way right now. They came in with those intentions, and we didn't let it happen. We manhandled them because they tried really hard. And and I like that Brunson, like he met the challenge. Okay, they put Daniels on him, like supposedly he's a great defender. No, I know, but then Brunson was like, oh yeah, great defense, just better offense,
right?
And put him in foul trouble and let him know, like when he got fouled out, let him know that's foul number 6. Goodbye, go sit down. Yeah. All right. So I absolute great win. Loved it.
Yeah, I thought Brunson kind of cracked the code. We'll know better when we play Atlanta again. But the first 2 times, it was really, really hard for him. And you can't tell me he didn't look at film of that upcoming game and see, where his advantages could be. And I think it was Tony who said he was listening to the Atlanta chat, before the game, and they were like, on Bleacher Report, I believe it is. Oh, we got the Brunson stopper. We're going to be fine, this game. And Brunson figures it out. He's a smart player. Like, he figures it out. It took 2 games, but he figured it out, and he frustrated him. I've seen Dyson Daniels. I actually watched that entire game against the Boston Celtics. I've seen him, play Brown, Tatum. I've seen him against other guys. He's a pesky defender. Really, really good perimeter defender. And Brunson just frustrated him. Really frustrated him. Technical foul. He was really put him out of his element. Actually, Jeff, anything on the Atlanta game?
Well, what strikes me about that game is we're down 18-8. and Atlanta has the ball, and Mikal Bridges just stonewalled the trash can and just wouldn't let him go anywhere and turn the ball over. And I really felt like that possession was just a catalyst for the Knicks. It was kind of like, okay, we're locked in now, let's go. And from that point forward, we just kind of took off, and the job that Bridges did defensively in that game was outstanding. And look, it was a good win. As it was a playoff atmosphere kind of a game, and then and then we had a second game of a back-to-back on the road ish, in Barclays, and we got the job done. It wasn't pretty, but it doesn't have to be. So just 29 wins in 45 games. We're one of 4 teams, or there may be more than that now, but we were one of the first 4 teams to reach the 29 win plateau. So very pleased with where we're at.
Yeah, for sure. I like the fact in the second half of the Atlanta game, like we finally, exploited Trae Young on defense with Mikal Bridges, right? Something we were asking for the first 2 times, right? So we were able to, do that. Show some, what I hope continues, just recognition of where the mismatches are. Like this team, at least offensively, obviously, if your shot is not falling, your shot is not falling. But in terms of getting quality shots, the Knicks should get quality shots every time. And it's really about just recognizing where the mismatch is, what are they trying to do, what are they trying to take away, and go to something else. It's a pick your poison, offense, in my opinion. And the Knicks haven't always been, and particularly Brunson, as sharp as I would like them to be in terms of just kind of with precision, figuring out on every possession where the mismatch is or where the advantage is. And we're going to need that crispness and that quick decision making, that quick recognition, to go deep into the playoffs. Anything else about the mini game? I'm trying to remember the Minnesota game.
No cat, no bueno.
Right.
Cat and terrible 3-point perimeter defense too.
Yeah. The Knicks, and I get it, Brunson's not a great defender, Cat's not a great defender. I just feel that the Knicks can be a better defending team, a defensive team than they are. Even with Cat, even with Brunson. Geoff mentioned a stat. What was the stat?
The Knicks have held their opponents under 100 points 10 times this year, and we're 10-0 in those games. We've only played 45. That's a lot of games, especially in the modern NBA, to hold an opponent under 100 points. So it's there. The potential is there. We're not saying it on a night in, night out basis. I don't know if we will, but you can, you can look at that stat and say, well, there's something in there that can possibly be exploited if we can figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, we would have to look at the list of teams, but still, even watching them, they have good games. They have good court defensively, I mean. And they just haven't been able to put it together consistently. I'm not sure where we are in defensive rating, 16?
That sounds about right.
Something like that. I just feel like there's room for improvement. The other thing I wanted to point out, was it the Brooklyn game? I think we talked about this on the Queen's Court about the bench and how maybe because of injuries or what have you, it's been like 1 or 2 players or 2 bench players running with 3 starters. And we talked about, 4 bench players, getting to the point where 4 bench players can run with 1 starter. And that's what I saw against the Brooklyn Nets. There was 4 bench players running with Karl-Anthony Towns. And I think that's what Geoff suggested when we was on Queen's Court. I just like that. I think if we can get that, that's going to bode well for the starters getting more rest. When you can run out 4 bench players with just 1 starters. Thoughts on that, what you've seen as far as the bench coming together?
Just to piggyback of what you said, it looks like the combination of Precious and Cat seems to work pretty well. I think that they're not a large sample size of minutes, but the on-off numbers that suggest that those two in the lineup together work extremely well. So that's encouraging. And then we have all those, we have three guards who I think you can rely on. So to me, moving forward, if you're going to, and I want to have it staggered in a way that Brunson or Cat is always on the floor, because I don't think our offense survives without that reality. So, with all due respect to McCall, who, has a great mid-range game, I don't when we first got Bridges, I was like, yeah, let him run the second unit and stuff. But now that we have Cat and we have Brunson, I think that we need to stagger it so that one of those guys is always on the court, just because I think that makes us so much more lethal. And I think it's going to make the players around them more effective, because you have someone who's a legitimate number one threat that a defense has to pay attention to. So you get those guys who aren't as skilled as our starters better looks.
Yeah, I think watching Mikal Bridges in the Atlanta game, I'm not giving up on this guy. I'm not giving up on this guy being a significant contributor to the Knicks. Like, it's taken him a long time to get into the role I want him to be into, which is just a legitimate third option, game in and game out. But when he's on his game, you could just see it. You could just see it. When everything is flowing for him, you can see the potential in this guy. And I know there's some Knicks fans still down on him, but his ceiling is still, in my opinion, pretty high, and he's not close.
What do you have? 26 points in 27 minutes in that Hawks game, or something crazy like that? I mean, and it's the first time I think he was under 30 minutes pretty much all season, I think. So, maybe that's a testament to, maybe less is more with him. Don't play him quite so much and you get more bang for your buck. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, because his defense on Trae Young was really good that game, and he dropped 27 in 26 minutes. So, yeah, it's definitely possible. I don't think all of it was foul trouble. I think he had 3 fouls in the first half and none in the second, if I'm not mistaken. So, maybe this is the bench is coming into their own, and we're going to see, less minutes for Bridges and OG. Ajay, you wanted to say something?
I just want to say real quick that in that Atlanta Hawks game, I like the fact that Mikal Bridges, like, you could see the passion. Like, he took it personal. I don't know if Trae said something to him, or if
It stayed
like,
too small at one point. I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Oh yeah. I mean, he was going at him. He was like, "Listen, you're not getting the best of me tonight." So not only he was playing good defense, but he was abusing him on offense. Like, abuse. I mean, it was just I love to watch it. So if he could play, and I know he can play with that much intensity more often, but we just hopefully the opponent could. Let's find out what Trae Young told him, and telling him, that,
put it on tape recorder and play it before the game.
Play exactly right before the game. Just play that for him.
Yeah. I just want to put this comment up because it's right what we're talking about. There's nobody in the starting five where Trae should be able to hide. No more Bullock sitting in the corner while Trae is on you, and that's true.
True.
You want to hide him on Josh? Who do you want to hide him on? Whoever it is. The Knicks should recognize that and take advantage of it. Do you think taking advantage of Trae or any player can take you out the flow of your offense?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because the teams, they have to have that flexibility, right? And the flow of the offense, that depends on who you're playing, right? And that's actually that's it's an advantage, right? Because so we go in the game with a game plan, but that game plan should already be they should already talk about that in the game plan, right?
Mhm.
And listen, this is an advantage we got to take. Let's find out who they put Trae Young on, and let's go. So that should already be incorporated. When you say taking out the flow, the offensive, the flow of the offense, that means it doesn't go like the regular Brunson. No, you got to play who you playing, right? And some teams, Queen, I complain to you a lot about that. Sometimes we play teams that don't have a big man that could check Cat, and they don't take advantage of that. So for that particular game,
Which is
the
every game.
which is most game. No, you're right. So for that, like especially
Mm-hmm.
when we played OKC, the second game, I really expected everything to go through Cat because they were not putting iHeart on Cat. They were
Mm-hmm.
putting smaller guys on him. So that should be the flow of the offense for that particular game.
What happened? Yeah, fair.
You
That's
know what I'm
fair.
saying? So yeah, I don't think it takes you out. Like it takes you in a different flow that
Right.
the players should be adjusted or should be able
Yeah.
to adjust to.
And the thing about it is these players are smart enough, to your point, everybody in that starting five can pass, shoot, and drive,
Mhm.
right? And so I don't know if it's Mikal or Trey and they want to double team. Mikal is should be able to, make the pass out of the double team, find the advantage. If it's Josh Hart on Trey and they throw a double team, again, these guys should be able to continue to keep the offense moving because they have high IQs and they're highly skilled players on the offensive end. It can take you out of your offense if you try to take advantage of it. They send a double team and the person they double team and is throwing the ball is getting tipped out and they don't know how to move the offense along. But that's not the case with the players we have on the floor. So to your point, absolutely.
And I think the only thing that could take us out of the flow is if we're not hitting shots. Because now that's tough to adjust to. Not the other team, but if you're not hitting shots, you're not hitting open shots, that could take you out. That could be a problem.
Which brings up a question. Geoff, did you want to say? Did you want to say?
No, I think you guys covered it.
When you said that, this is something I want the Knicks to get out of. And it seems like slowly but surely they are because they were down in that Atlanta game and they came back, they made a run. When the Knicks shots is popping, this is the most energetic team ever. Flying around on the defensive end, behind the back passes over the shoulder. Everybody is jovial and happy. When the Knicks went through that stretch, when they were shooting like 0.12%, or whatever it is, my goodness, they looked like they were stuck in mud on the
Fourth quarter of the
defensive
Brooklyn
end.
game, we had 3 points through 8.5 minutes.
Right. You got to learn. I think Josh Hart alluded to this or said it outright. You got to learn how to play regardless of whether your shot is falling or not. Nothing changes, and I get it. You're human. There's something energizing about the offensive end of the court. It really is. But you got to just dig down, be mentally tough. And when your shot is not falling, you still have to play the game. And I think that's something that the Knicks, I think this week they've gotten better at, and they should continue to get better at. Like that mental toughness, like it doesn't matter. We're never out of the game. No matter what the score is, we're never out of the game. Our effort, what we do, game in and game out, possession in, possession out, is not going to change because our shot is not falling tonight. So I still think this team has some work to do, as far as mental toughness and things like that.
I agree.
Yeah. Anything else on the games last week? All right. So we got a doozy coming up. They're all at home, though. They're all at home. We play Sacramento. And Sacramento, let me see. They've been
Like
playing.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 3 in a row. They're 3 games over, 500, which to some, like, what are you saying? That's not really saying much. But when you think about where they were when they fired Mike Brown, they've been on a really, really good tear, and they're coming in hot. They're coming in hot. So we play them Saturday. Monday we play the Memphis Grizzlies, who are third in the Western Conference at 29-15. They're 6-4 over their last 10, but they've won 4 straight. So they're riding the ship, so to speak. And so we play them on Monday. And then Wednesday we have Denver, who's fourth, 27-16, 8-2 over their last 10, and they've won 3 straight. Maybe one of them will get a loss before we actually play them. But for right now, Sacramento has won 3, Memphis has won 4, and Denver has won 3. Thoughts about this upcoming slate of games? What you're looking to see from the Knicks, and if you want to throw some predictions in, you can.
It's a tough stretch. It's a tough stretch. The good thing is we're playing at home. We don't have to travel, so we
I
can
don't know
just.
if that's good, AJ. This home stretch hasn't been as
But
good as I thought it would be.
the fact that we don't have to travel is good. Okay, so but it's gonna be a tough stretch. But listen, man, these guys are coming in hot. They come in onto a team, to one of the top teams in the league. We'll cool them right off. I ain't worried about them. We could go. We could look at each game one by one if you want. But I think, I listen. We right up there. We right up there with the best of them. The last 10 haven't been great for us. Compared to these teams' last 10. But I'm not worried about it. We're on a mini winning streak right now. So,
to your point, the Knicks are 5-5 over their last 10.
Right.
And we won 2.
We won the last 2. So we just started winning streak. So, let's keep that going all the way to All-Star break.
Have you seen anything, Geoff, that would lead you to, over the past few? No.
374064941.
Let's take the call.
Call from
Brooklyn Butch.
to accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Hello there, Brooklyn Butch. How are you? What you got for us today?
BK Butch.
BK.
Hey, Happy New Year. Good to talk to you guys.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey, man.
Salute to the panel.
Salute.
I got 3 quick things. Couple of concerns. When the game tightens up, Brunson kind of goes to that pound, especially in the last minutes of the game. I think if that continues once again and we get to the playoffs, that'd be a real detriment to us. The second one is offensive rebounds. Through this whole year, we've been getting on offensive rebounds. So a lot of times, a lot of our loss or our difficulties, even with bum teams, because that next game should not have been close. But the reason why it began to get close is because we couldn't get offensive rebounds. Our skills to block out are terrible. So that was another one of my concerns. And my third one is the wish. And then I'll make it's a tweet, because I really think that we need some form of a trade. And my it's with Golden State. The trade would be Wiggins. If we get Wiggins for Mitch, Precious Achiuwa, and I was here maybe either Quick or Deuce. Would you do a trade like that to pick up Wiggins?
That's a lot. It was Deuce. Who was the other one? Was it Shamit, you said?
So no, Deuce or either Cole.
Or who? It keeps cutting out when you say that
Precious
next person.
Achiuwa.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Precious Achiuwa.
Precious, I got them.
Got Mitch. And it would either be Deuce or Kolick.
Oh, Kolick.
Because I'm assuming that I think that he's somewhere in the 20s, I believe, of what his salaries was. So the reason why I ask players, because you got to give to get.
I think the money, you know what I mean, money right for that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can the caller hear me? He could hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
you started by saying that one of the problems we have is offensive rebounds, but you want to trade
Brunson's ability to start pound, like when the game gets close and then that crunch time, that ability where he just begins to pound, take it on himself, and take in the playoffs, that might be a detriment to us. One. Second one was offensive rebound. Like when we're playing, like you look at the Nets game, that last game that we played, the Nets tore us up on the offensive rebounds.
Okay, but
That's what that made it back close.
Right. But Ajay,
No, I was saying if rebounding is an issue, but why would you trade Precious Achiuwa and Mitch for Wiggins?
Wiggins is all of, but I believe for us to have a really true complete five and to make us a better depth, Wiggins has those talents that's all around, where he's good at. He's great if he really needs to take somebody out because he's extremely long, great defender, and on offense he is so capable of averaging somewhere between 16 and 18 points. So with a guy like that coming off of our bench, it's what's in there. I know it doesn't help us as far as rebounding is concerned, but we've got to figure something else out. We've gone with him out of that long. I just think that we need a better overall player. Size, this, you know what I mean? This small guys, these things, it's just not cutting it. And I like Precious Achiuwa, but Precious Achiuwa is not, I don't think he's cutting it. You know what I mean? I don't think he's the same caliber player as Wiggins. I don't put them in the same.
Right, but let me ask you this though: any concerns about the depth, giving up 4 players for one?
100%, I believe that. But you need talent to truly, for us to even get out there. More than likely, you know what I mean? We're going to run into the Celtics. You need at least 3 guys to 4 that are extremely switchable to be able to deal with that team. And we're going to have to with them.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm
too talented not to get around them.
I agree with that. And I'm not. I like Wiggins, and I know he's not. He doesn't always play up to his potential, but that doesn't mean he won't do that here. You know, like Cat. When he came, he doesn't play up to his he played at a high level, but there was an even higher level that we were able to unlock here. The same can happen for Wiggins. I'm not mad at Wiggins. I like his game. He's a little too sleepy for me, though, a little too smooth for me. But the thing is, though, my issue with Wiggins is not necessarily the player, but how much we have to give up for him. And without a lot of options to fill in those players, Mitch, Precious, and Deuce, or if not Deuce, Kolick, that's a lot of that's a lot to give up
and
for.
Queen, I don't even think it works because even if we're taking back less salary than we're bringing in, because we're sending out so many people, we have roster charges which would put us over the second apron. So I don't even think that deal is doable within the confines of the CBA, even if we wanted it to happen.
Right.
But
I hear his overall point though about getting some length in that second unit and being switchable.
Yeah, I would kind of not.
Yeah, because I think that he, you know what I mean, he could finish a lot of games for us. He could actually help, and I think he could really help going against the Celtics. He, you know what I mean, would get Tatum or around. You know what I mean? I think between him and OG, I think that then we might be able to contain them guys a little bit. You know, to throw them off just a bit out of their comfort zone. But as we are constitutionally, you know, at this stage, I don't see it. You know what I mean? I just don't. And I think that our second unit, even, you know what I mean? Like you're saying, a lot of bodies, but is it talented? You know, I think the Precious Achua experiment at playing center, I don't like it at all. You know what I mean? He's 6'7", and I don't think that, you know, in crunch time or when he's going, you know, real good size guys, it doesn't work. To me, it just doesn't work. You know, he's better at, you know, he's even said it. He prefers to be a power forward. That playing center is really not for him. I just don't think the winning formula.
But yeah. I do hear you, but trading him and Mitch, it doesn't help our center position either. But yeah, fair points. But listen, we appreciate you calling in. Thank you for listening to the show, and don't hesitate to call in again.
Thanks for the call. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
I like the idea of Wiggins. I just think he costs too much, and we would have to give up too much.
I don't like the idea of Wiggins.
No?
No. We have Mikal Bridges. They'd be playing the same role. I'm good.
No. Off the bench.
So you're gonna bring that? We bring that guy just to bring him off the bench? I don't know.
Yeah, we need it. Well, I mean, we'll get to this, and maybe when we finish out this segment, we'll get into trades. But yeah, I do think I would love a long, wiry player off the bench that could score. The thing with Wiggins, though, is he's not as aggressive as I need him to be consistently. And I don't know if that
he's very laid back.
You know, I don't know if that would change. Anyway, back to next. Oh, go ahead, Geoff. You want to say something?
I just don't like the idea of trading away both two big men and not getting a big man in return. I think you have an over reliance on Sims and Huckporty at that point. And you know, the Cat's injury history, I'm not sure that that's the best use of our assets moving forward for a guy, to me, that doesn't really move the needle that much. So I would pass on that personally.
East Blue Drew said, now when are we making these trades take into account who Tibbs is? He not playing someone he doesn't rock with. Like bring a Cam Reddish type in. We got 5 games in the playoffs saying, damn, Tibbs play Wiggins.
Exactly.
I think he would play Wiggins though, because of on the defensive end. We'll see. I mean, listen, I don't think that's a trade we make because of his salary, but you don't sit that much money on the bench though. And at this point, I think Tibbs is enough respect with the front office that they're not trading for anybody that he's not rocking with as East Blue Drew said. But thoughts on these upcoming games: Sacramento, Grizzly, Memphis, Denver.
I'm real curious about Saturday because we've had 3 days off, and everything's been tired legs this and worn out that. So I'm curious to see if they come out on Saturday kind of energized and refreshed. That's what I'm hoping to see at any rate. I think it's going to be a tough battle. The Kings are revitalized. Keon Ellis is out of jail. Mike Brown had him in the doghouse, and he's really stepped up for them and is playing a big role in their resurgence. So I think these next, not just this week, but these next 5 games are going to, they're all at home, but they're all against really quality opponents. So we get to see where we stack up against some of these big boys. And that'll, I think, with the trade deadline coming up and not too distant future after that, it'll kind of tell us, well, these are the areas we really need to focus on to improve our team.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this week because at some point we got to stop being the paper Knicks. On paper, we have a really good team. They got two players starting in the All-Star. Okay, all right, okay. But at some point, let's get a string of quality wins. And we have that opportunity, this week. The opportunity to go 3-0 against 3 tough teams, Do you think the Knicks are there yet? in terms of continuity, chemistry, do you think they would be the favorites in any of these games?
I'll answer. I think it are people forgetting that we have 2 All-Stars on our team? Yeah, we always have an opportunity against those Queen. I'm gonna keep saying that. Hasn't happened in 50 years. No, we have 2 quality. Listen, these guys are gonna be well rested. They fresh coming off All-Star announcement. I think these guys are gonna be pumped up. They're gonna be energized. They're gonna be, the guards are gonna be rocking. I mean, these guys are gonna come out to play. All right, I expect nothing less. All right, these guys are gonna put on a show, and against Sacramento, I think we're probably gonna get a win. And somebody in the chat mentioned this. I might as well put it up while I'm talking about it. Where is it? Somebody said, that was JJ. He said, can't wait to see the rebounding matchup with Sabonis and Cat. I mean, that's going to be a battle because these guys, and they're used to battling each other too. Like, I think they get something out of playing each other, those guys. So it's going to be a good matchup to watch if those guys are healthy and playing and pumped up like we expect them to be.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good game, and I think we're going to come out on top.
I actually think Cat against guys like Sabonis and the Joker is more in his element because those are guys who are his size, and I think from a defensive standpoint, he tends to have his better games against those types of players. And I don't know if it's just because he's stepping up against the competition, but I know in the playoffs last year, I thought he did an excellent job against the Joker. So I'm curious to see that matchup when it comes about, but and he's got a lot of pressure on him in this next game because Mr. Julius Randle loved to cook Sabonis. So if he falls flat on his face, there's definitely going to be some backlash in the Knick community. Like, Randle killed this guy. Why can't Cat? So it should be interesting. East Blues right on the money. De'Aaron Fox is a problem. They're going to be a difficult matchup. There's no doubt about it. But it would be really, if we could find a way to go 2-1 in these next 3, I'll be really impressed. But I'm expecting 1 and 2. I don't know which one we'll get, but I'm expecting 1 and 2.
Yeah, something is not adding up to me. Like the Knicks are who we say they are. You beat Sacramento at home. You're healthy, right? There's no reason why you can't beat Sacramento at home. Now, if you want to say Denver is a better team than the Knicks, and maybe they struggle with Denver, or Memphis is a better team, you can make an argument for that. But Sacramento is not a better team, in my opinion, anyway, than the Knicks. The Knicks should be able to win that game. And I think the fact that we're like, maybe they might, they're just not there yet. They're just not there yet, which is why we're not very confident going into this week or these 5 games.
Keep in mind, I'm Mr. PTSD. I'm never going to be the guy who says we're going 3-0 in any stretch ever. So you have to color what I say with context. Also, I just, that's just my mindset as far as things go. But we're capable of winning all 3 of these games, no doubt. But health is a concern, and how's Cat's shooting hand? Is that going to continue to affect him moving forward? Because we're going to need all hands on deck. You can't, you're not going to get away with a fourth quarter performance like we had against Brooklyn. Against any of those teams. They're going to run you off the floor. So we've got some things to work on and straighten out, and hopefully with a couple of days of practice and rest or whatever they did these last 3 days, they come ready, because it's going to be a challenging stretch.
Yeah. For sure, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. You go out and beat Atlanta, who, they're in 7th place, but in my opinion, still a quality team. And then you struggle with Brooklyn, so it's going to be interesting. Sherwin says, shout out to Sherwin, the Kings is a bad matchup for the Knicks. They have the speed that we can't match. You might be right about that, but they got to figure it out. I mean, I don't see Sabonis is not that fast. DeRozan is not that fast. But yeah, Keon, Fox, I hear you. I hear you.
Murray.
Figure it out. Who else, Jeff?
Murray. Don't they have Keegan Murray?
Keegan Murray.
Yeah,
He's a
I
good
don't
player.
see him as being super fast though.
No,
Right.
It's the only other player on the Kings that I know. Do they
Right.
still have Malik Monk? Because that guy always kills.
Yes, they do have Malik Monk.
So
Mhm.
he'll go. He's the guy who's going to go 7 for 10 from 3 and gets wide open looks all night. So just you can pencil that in, win or lose.
Yeah,
I think out of those 3 games coming up, I think the toughest matchup for us is Memphis, though. I mean, not that the other ones aren't tough, but Memphis is a tough matchup for us.
For anybody.
Oh well, true, but especially for us, the way we've been lacking on defense, the way the speed is a problem. They have a little guy, but they don't have a size problem.
no.
Ja's not small.
Right.
Right.
And I'm just trying to see their last game and who's starting for them. So last game they started Morant, Bain, Zach Edey at center, Jaren Jackson Jr. at forward, and Jalen Wells as the other
At the 3.
as the other forward.
Jesus, Jaren Jackson at the 4 and Zach Edey at the 5. That's a problem. That's a problem for us.
Maybe a game where you go big with Precious and Cat.
Yeah,
Match
maybe.
their size.
Yeah, I don't know if I would change my starting lineup, but I might play that combination more than usual. To match up, I might play him, more than usual. I think the other thing to keep in mind when we talk about these matchups, we always think about them in the other team's favor. Like Jaren Jackson against OG Anunoby, he's so tall, but he also has to guard OG. And they'll probably have Jaren on, I would think, Cat. I don't think they would have Zach Edey on Cat, but
I think they'll throw both. Like they'll just 1-2 punch, depending on the possession. You'll have either Zach Edey or Jaren Jackson on them.
I don't think Edey can do anything with if Edey has to guard Cat, his barbecue chicken, he gonna cook that dude.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr., I think it gives them a much better chance. Of course, Zach Edey against Josh Hart or OG Anunoby, I don't think that. Maybe I'm just underestimating Edey, but he just seems like he's a lumbering, slow, big guy, and Towns at the top of the key will burn you. Like we've seen it so many times, and if he's guarding somebody else in our starting 5, they're all smaller and quicker and can punish that. So hopefully we hunt those matchups like people hunt Brunson and Towns against us.
Yeah. And this is a situation where they may change their lineup to match up with us. He started, but he only played 19 minutes in that game. I don't know if he got hurt. Was that the normal rotation for him? But he had just as many rebounds in his 19 minutes as Jaren Jackson Jr. had in 30, which is 6. Not a great rebounder, but definitely he can shoot the 3 as well. So if Cat is playing him, I'm not sure that's going to be the case though. I wouldn't put Cat on him.
I don't think you can put him on Triple J. You'll get him in foul trouble, won't you?
Correct. Yep. Shout out to J-Tap. I went to the game in Sacramento last season and left brokenhearted. Hopefully that won't be the case What about the Denver game? They're coming along. They struggled earlier. They struggled earlier in the season.
Jamal Murray is healthy and Joker is healthy. They're a problem. I don't care what else. I mean, those two are one of the most dynamic combinations in the league still, and champions besides. So you got, and we kind of eviscerated them the last time they came to the Garden. I don't know if Joker played in that game, but I'm sure that they're cooking. They're going on all firing on all cylinders. So it's gonna be a real game. But one thing that I'm hopeful is that, I mean, we didn't really see it against the Thunder, but a lot of times the Knicks really step into the spotlight in these occasions and play better than we think they're going to. So hopefully that trend continues.
Yeah, they're up 22 at the half on the Kings.
Woo. So I guess one of those winning streaks going to end.
Right. So Sacramento is starting Fox, Monk, Sabonis, Murray, and DeRozan. We forgot about DeRozan talking about Sacramento, right? And
he likes to kill us too, mid-range giant.
Mm-hmm. And Denver is starting Murray, Westbrook, the Joker, Michael Porter Jr., and Christian Brown. Aaron Gordon is back. He was out for a while, but he's coming off the bench.
And they have Russ
16 at the half. Westbrook 14 at the half. Porter 13. The Joker 11. Yeah. Well, we got both of them. We got both of them coming in this week. But I'm looking forward. I really want to see where are the Knicks in terms of their game, in terms of their recognition, and in terms of their focus. I'm so looking forward to this week. All right. Before we get out, anything about the games? I want to talk about trades, but not necessarily specifically, just more theoretically. But anything else on these three games? Sacramento, Denver, Memphis. Can we get to the chat too, and then we'll get to the last segment?
Yeah, we'll do a couple of chats real quick. But before the chat, I hope Tony Brothers don't officiate any of those games. And if they keep stats, we probably lose about 80% of games. Tony Brothers officiating. Shout out to JJ says there's nobody in the starting five. Oh, well, that's what we talk about back when we were talking about the. No, I think we said that already. We pointed that out already. Where is it? Nick B says it's hard to see where we stand until we have our full roster. Well, that's yes and no, because you got to go to battle with what you have, man. It doesn't. I want to say it doesn't matter, but we could have our full roster. Other teams have their full roster, and right now we're playing teams that don't have their full roster. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a rolling the dice thing, like who's out on the court, because we're not the only one. We're not the only team with injuries, A lot of other teams are missing guys. So you play who you have, man.
Right.
And you stand, you got to meet the moment. You know where you stand based on what you have in your pocket and what you play with. So
go ahead. No,
I was gonna say with what we have, because remember last season, we played. We had a lot of injuries. We were playing. I mean, do you say we don't know where we stand until we have our full roster? We know where we stand, man. This guy's was second seed.
And I will also say that Mitchell Robinson, if that's who he's referring to, is a wild card. So I think that the Knicks, if he comes back and he's healthy, he's definitely going to help us. We're definitely going to be a better team. There's no question about that. But I think the Knicks have to focus. Who are we right now? Like, I don't think they are thinking about, well, when Mitchell Robinson, comes back, A, B, and C. No, who are you right now? Because Mitchell Robinson, we don't know who he's going to be when he does come back. Right? So this might be it. this might be it. We don't know. I think of Mitchell Robinson as gravy. You know, if he comes back and he can help and he can contribute, that is great. But if he can't, you still got to mow the lawn. You know, you still have to, you still have to go out there and play and play well, including the playoffs.
Yeah. Shout out to Old Head, says Knicks fan are impatient. This is their first time playing together, so chemistry takes a while. And it does. I agree with that.
And a while could be a season.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the idea that, when we were talking 20 games, I don't know if we meant 20 games that chemistry would be there as much as it was 20 games for us to kind of see, have a sense of at least a small, decent sample size of who this team could be. But it might take a season for this team to really gel and come together.
Oh, shout out to Nick P. Thinking right along my.
Are we sure this is Nick P or did Ajay put this up?
Right.
That's my burner account. Nah, shout out to Nick P, man. Let me see. Wiz BKLA says, Queen, hold on. I completely agree about Mikal. He shows flashes of Tatum and Brown, so all-star potential. OG also does the same at times. That's when we were talking back about the
I Bridges, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him.
Yeah, and speaking of chemistry, I think it's going to get better with him as the season goes over. So, after the All-Star break, man, I think brace yourselves because Mikal Bridges is coming. I'm calling it. We're gonna have like strings of good games from him, not just one here, one there. Okay, so building blocks. We talk about the Wiggins trade. Said Juice is not worth their squeeze for Wiggins, paying $27 million coming off the bench. Poor resource management. I completely agree.
And Sherwin said that he didn't think Wiggins would come off the bench. He thinks Hart would come off the bench if that trade was made.
Yeah. Building blocks part 2 says I'm not happy with our card roster and how we can improve it. How we can improve it enough right now. The last one, building blocks. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's not Old Head. Knick fans are impatient. This is their first time. No, we saw that already. Which one am I looking for? Oh, okay, that's it. Okay, I have 2 from on Dios. Just tell this Knick Station if you're enjoying the moment. Hit the like button, man. I haven't checked how many likes we have. Let me just do that real quick and refresh, see how many likes we have. You guys are staying up here with us late. We only have 55 likes, man. What's going on with that, man? Come on, y'all. Let's hit the like button, man.
Yeah, definitely. We have 100 watching right now.
Got to do a little better than that.
Yeah, 100 watching right now.
A-Train was asking if you hit the like button yet, Ajay.
Oh, I sure did.
Okay. Yeah, he was just checking. He was concerned. I know A-Train.
Good looking out, A-Train, but yeah, I did. I hit it.
She was concerned. I just hit it myself. Sometimes I'm late. But I got it. All right. So anything else, Ajay? Shout out to Ondios NYK.
For sure.
We appreciate you. You put that in the chat like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Appreciate you.
Keep reminding these people to hit like, subscribe, and share this channel. Sit back and enjoy the show every Thursday. Yeah. Yep. Trade. You want to talk about trades?
Yeah. I had to make on Dios NYK a moderator.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean we can get into specifics as far as the trade is concerned. A lot of trade rumors right now. Trade deadline is 2 weeks away. But the question I have for you two is just for each player that I'm gonna mention, what would it take for you to put them in a trade, though? You know, like when we talk about Mitchell Robinson, what would it take for you to put Mitchell Robinson in trade, given our need for a defensive big guy? What would it need? What would we need to be getting back, I should say, to put Precious in a trade, right? And whoever else you want to throw in there, Kolick, Cam, Shamit, McBride, like to me, it would have to be something significant. So for me, I'm on team stay pat. That's where I'm at. Unless we're talking something significant, I'm on team stay pat. If you're bringing in I do think the Knicks could benefit from a scoring wing player off the bench, right? They can benefit from that. Who that player is, I don't know. I would be willing to give up a significant piece for a scoring bench player. Other than that, I'm staying pat. I'm staying pat. Sure, I would like a more, what would you call it, reliable big. Nick Richards is in Phoenix now. Double-digit rebounds in 2 of the 3 games that he's there. I'm not sure what the options are now, right? So, Geoff, we'll start with you. Let's just start with Mitchell Robinson. What would it take for you to, in terms of a return? It could be a particular player, it could be a type of player, for you to feel comfortable giving up Mitchell Robinson.
Oh, this is a hard question for me because this is a heart versus head question, right? My favorite player, so I don't really want to trade him, but I've said for a long time I think he's on the trading block just because of his contract and his lack of availability. I think that if you're going to trade him, I either want someone who's going to be more reliable option at the 5 and maybe do a little bit of a consolidation, where I think we have too many 5s on the roster right now, and I think we need another wing on the bench. One that could score would be better, obviously. But so if you can get that kind of a player, and then maybe free up a little bit of space underneath the second apron, and so maybe you can bring TJ Warren up without getting over, you know what I mean? Where you can bring him on, maybe he's part of the solution to that wing problem. I wouldn't mind that. I did want to say I misspoke last week. I didn't know Jonas Valanciunas is actually an excellent rebounder. So I was mistaken there, but I would be hesitant with him because I just think his offensive game is good and he's a good rebounder, but his defense is a liability to the point where I don't know how much, I think Tibbs would play him at first, but then I think he would get real frustrated and throw up his hands, and then we're back in the same situation we were. So
I agree.
Jonas kind of worries me. I don't know that I would make that trade, but I don't think there's a ton of options out there. If you could get I'm not saying this, I mean, Miami wouldn't do this deal, but if you could trade for Alec Burks, for example, I think that's a guy off the bench. He's a little bit small, but we at least know he can score in high profile games. I mean, Game 7 of the Indiana series, he was our, the only one putting the ball in the basket at that point. But really, even more so than that, if I had my druthers, I think I would want a wing who can give OG and McCall more rest, and you can feel good about them defensively at the point of attack, even if they're not necessarily the greatest shooter in the universe. You know what I mean? Because I think we have enough shooting that we could put around that person that we could make it work. But I really feel like for this team to make the next step and be solidified, we've got to add some length on the wing that can defend.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ajay, when it comes to Mitchell Robinson, stand pat, or what would it take for you to consider trading him? And I do hear the chat. We'll get to the chat that Mitchell Robinson may not have a lot of value right now, given his his injury history and the fact that he hasn't played at all this season.
And that's a very good point. So in a perfect world, like Geoff said, I would want to get like a wing, somebody come off the bench to help the scoring off the bench. That's not our only problem. Of course, our other problem is defense, right? But more so perimeter defense. So a wing that could also provide great perimeter defense. So not just it's whatever, like we're dreaming here, right? It's not like that this guy's gonna come stroll right in. So to come and be the perfect fit, but it would be nice to have somebody with size who could score, moderately score off the bench and play good perimeter defense.
Would you be willing to, if you gave up Mitch, that's a big for a wing, then you would be comfortable going with Precious and Sims backing up Towns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's somebody, again, somebody who's playing good defense, who's, because if you watch the games, like most of the games we lose, we're not getting killed like on the interior. Most of those games we're getting killed on the perimeter. So you need to reinforce that. And even if you lose a little bit on the interior, like that's fine, because that's just listen, I'd rather give up a 2-pointer than 3-pointer, right? It increases your chances of winning the game. So it wouldn't be a terrible trade-off if we go that route.
Right. Yeah. Someone said in the it might have been East Blue Drew about asset management. Like, we're probably, if Mitch can come back and show that he's healthy, if you do want to trade him, you may get more for him in the summer than trading him right
Hey,
now.
this is it.
Okay.
Building blocks.
Yeah, we're not going to get, I think.
To get true value. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
For Mitch in any scenario right now. Again, poor research management. Wait until the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy to say. Let's see what happens down the stretch. Remember that OG trade came on the heels of the Knicks having like a mini stretch where, I don't know, was it 3 in a row, 3 out of 4 or something like that? And next thing you know, the trigger was pulled and here come OG Anunoby. So, how urgent do the Knicks feel that they need to make a trade, and who's willing to trade for, takes two to tango. Like, who's willing to trade for Mitchell Robinson? I don't know. I think our best course of action is to keep him and see what he has to help. And to East Blue Drew's building blocks point, see what happens in.
But Old Head makes a good point. It may just be something simple like flipping Sims for a heavily protected 2nd-round pick, just to open up some space so that we can sign TJ Warren from Westchester. That may be, and it clogs up the log jam we have at the 5 spot. And so it, not the sexiest of moves by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe one that helps us as we go into the balance of the season after the All-Star break.
Yeah, I'm for that. Like I said, I'm team stand pat unless there's something significant that comes down the pike that can that can help us. And that would be a small move. You bring up TJ. You probably can bring up both of them at that at that point. Yeah, but I agree with you. I don't think Mitch is here long term. Like, I don't think they're re-signing Mitchell Robinson. So if they don't trade him this season, I would put my money on it. They're going to trade him in the off season. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. And he's I think after next season, he's an unrestricted free agent.
But he's on a good contract now, so I mean, that's one of those just one of those things.
Unless, because of his injury history, they can negotiate like a really, really team friendly deal.
Right.
Then
him for like his rookie scale deal or something like that, where Remember, he played for peanuts for about
He
till he
did.
got that 4-year, $60 million deal, whatever it was. He was the best value. I used to call him the MVP because he was the best value contract in the league for what he produced versus what he was getting paid. But it's possible that with his injuries, he may be forced to do that on his next contract because you
Right.
can't rely on him.
Right. Greg is really high. Shout out to Greg. He's really high on Moses Brown. Why do we need to trade when we have Moses Brown? This is my take on G League guys for the Knicks, and that includes TJ Warren. They're going to come in and they're going to give you a little boost. But I'm not expecting Moses Brown to come in and be like, I don't know, a world beater. And the same thing with TJ Warren. It's like somebody said in the chat, why hasn't anybody else picked him up? He's available. He's not available for us because of salary constraints, but he's available to the rest of the league. Yeah. I think what the Knicks truly need, we're not going to be able to get this year. And in my opinion, that's a scoring wing off the bench. Somebody that can create a shot for themselves and create a shot for others. And we just don't have that off the bench.
And it may make the most sense from an asset management standpoint to wait, because if you wait till the summer, that further draft pick, first round pick may open up, you know what I mean, for the 2031 or what. I don't know when the soonest one that we can trade is, but once you hit the draft, that unlocks that. And if you unlock that, maybe you can combine that asset with the salaries that you have and actually come up with a player who's, not just an end of the bench guy.
Right. So TJ Warren will help. Moses Brown may help, but the Knicks need they need that dude, in my opinion, on that second unit, and that may not be something that happens until the off season.
Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody up for Burks 3.0?
If the Knicks go that, I mean, he's a little taller than Shamet, right? So I know JJ is talking about he doesn't like that 3-guard lineup. So if you got Burks in your game with 2 inches, so yeah.
And he could go off on any given night. Alec Burks.
Yeah.
He can go off.
Yep. He said Sims for Burks straight up.
Sure, Pat Riley would be just dying to make that move.
I know, right?
All right. Let's move to Precious. Like, what I get the complaints of Precious, the caller, who was that, Brooklyn Butch? Precious, and he's not a 5, but I like him, to Geoff's earlier point, playing with Cat. I kind of like that. And for me, if you trade Precious, you better be bringing in my opinion, another big, because we don't know what's going on with Mitchell Robinson, and I don't really want Sims to be the only basically reliable backup on the team behind Towns. So if you're going to trade Precious, you better be bringing back, in my opinion, another big. Not even a wing, like another. And I think the Knicks do need a scoring wing. Don't get me wrong, but you got to bring in another big to play with Towns if you're going to trade Precious. Any thoughts on if the Knicks were to move Precious, what you would need to see, or what you would want to see? I know Ajay, take your time. I know it's a sore subject.
I would want to see a 4, like a real, like another 4, more talented. I mean, I know we want 5s, like everybody, like we feel like we need a backup 5, but we don't really have a 4 besides Precious. Precious is a true 4. he doesn't play like, or some, well, not that he doesn't, because sometimes he does play the 4, because sometimes he's on the court with Cat.
Right.
But he is our true power forward. So if
Yeah, I hate. To me, I think OG is a 4-2. I think OG is a 3-4. I know people feel like he's just a power forward, but a small forward. But in today's NBA, in my opinion, he could play the 3, or the 4. You don't have to be tall, to play the 4.
Problem is he rebounds like a 2.
That's the problem.
You know,
That's the problem.
So you
The
need a
rebound.
power forward who could actually rebound, who could
Josh
play like
Hart
an old school power forward.
so it balances out. But yeah, if you're gonna trade Precious, I kind of agree with everything that you said here. But again, if you can, what are you gonna get for that contract? Like, what does he make, $6 million a year or so, and we have to bring back less money in a trade. So you're not talking about, you're not going to be getting anybody that everybody's going to be doing backflips over regardless, right? And so, if there's a reason contractually, like if you feel like you have someone who's going to be more continuous soup, where they, you'll have their contract for next year that you think is going to be more tradable in the future, or because what isn't Precious on a 1-year deal?
Yes.
You become a free agent, and so maybe they would want to lock in someone at that, at a little bit smaller salary who does similar things, and that you can use as a trade chip in the summer. Or moving forward, so I could see that, maybe pairing Precious and Sims, or something along that line. But again, you're not getting a lot from that.
Yeah, and you can't even pair him with Mitchell Robinson, because that's 2 of your bigs going out.
Yeah, you would definitely need to have a 5 coming back in that trade if you did that.
Right.
But I did see on KFS, Jeremy Cohen, who does the cap or no caps, he had a scenario where we traded Mitch to Washington for Valanciunas, and then we ended up being part of a 3-team deal with Brooklyn and Cleveland that brought what's it, Kongwu that they have? Is that the
Capella?
No,
Congo was in there with the Hawks. No,
it's not. No, it's not.
Hawks,
who's the guy with Okoro? That's who it is.
Isaac
Okoro.
The Knicks?
Coming to the Knicks, and Cam Johnson going to Cleveland, and I think we send out Precious, and I don't know. I don't remember all the details, but
why can't we get Cam Johnson?
He makes too much money.
Listen, figure it out. Do a 18 trade. I don't know. Work it out.
I mean, we would have minimal players after that. You bring in Cam Johnson. I like him too. I think he would be great, but still, he's still somebody else that you need to create for him. If I'm not, we're not talking about Cam Thomas. We're talking about Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson, the power forward.
Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think the other players have any value. And I think if you're gonna trade Deuce, you gotta bring back like a major player. Like, I'm not putting Deuce in a trade for a marginal player. Like, it would have to be like significant. Like, this is the tall scoring wing that we need.
See that, Wiz? Now hit that like button, Wiz. You got your Deuce love. Come on, Wiz. You got to live up to your end of the bargain.
Right. Other than that, no, I'm not.
I don't see trading Deuce. I just think his contract is so small. You're not going to get anybody of significant, like, equal value back unless you're pairing him with one of those other guys. And as you said, if you're doing that, it better be for someone of significance. Like Colin Sexton, Almighty Finesse put in the chat, and someone like that.
I'm not even sure I would do that.
I'm not
I
sure
don't
either.
think I definitely don't think the money works. So it would have to be McBride and somebody else for Sexton.
Right.
And I wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
However, if it was 1-for-1, I
Listen,
think it depends on.
Sexton is a willing defender. He tries hard on defense. He's not a great defender, but he's very active, right? But he's really not. I mean, it's just a lot of movement for nothing.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more about somebody on that second unit that can stir.
He could score though.
He's a walking bucket.
He can score.
Yeah,
and you know, as great as Deuce has been for us, he's also somebody that who's better. Not that he can't create off the dribble. He's better when someone is creating for him. You know, that's our second unit, basically.
But again, you're dealing with Utah. You got that Danny Ainge tax. You know,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
That's not happening.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. And I'm not gonna even mention Cam and Shaman. I just don't think they have any value. You know, they're
or at least Cam has more value to us than he would to somebody else. I don't really want to trade campaign. I think he's a useful piece for this team in the here and now. I haven't been overly impressed with Landry so far, but
me either.
You know,
I think coming into the season.
After that 18-point outburst, ain't nobody trading Cam. We're not trading Cam right now at all.
But his playmaking ability and his defense are both decent as well. It's not like he just has an occasional scoring outburst. Like if Brunson has to be on the bench for an extended period of time, he can legitimately run an NBA offense. I mean, that is within his skill set. And I like his point of attack defense too.
Yeah. East Blue Drew. Deuce's Tibbs' son, he not moving him for nothing. He moved Dante before. Well, he moved Dante because Minnesota specifically said they were not going to do the trade without him. Listen,
that was a Dante deal. Randall was just a throw in to make the money work.
I think you're right about that. But listen, I don't think anybody after they traded Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, I just think it's really about what's going to make the team better. I don't think anybody is off limits. I think if Devin Booker became available, Josh Hart would probably be gone. Like I think it just depends on who the player is. I don't think they would move him lightly. I don't think they would move him for Sexton. But if the price is right, everything is on the table. Right? When you're trying to win a championship, everything is on the table.
Right.
How we feel about I just felt like I need some taller guys. I mean, I think he would be better than Shaman. So if you're running Deuce, Cam, and Ayo, DeSumo, I definitely like his game.
And missed 4 of his good games a year, because he wouldn't get to play the Knicks anymore.
No, he's an okay player. He's okay. All right. I think we got to. I like someone with size at the 3 off the bench. Not a fan of the Deuce Payne and Shaman trio playing together. It's way too small. If we put Precious in a trade, I want Mitch back. Like, seriously, who's out there right now? Agreed.
Yep.
East Blue Drew, to get something good, we have to put Deuce, but we need Deuce too much. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. All right. Any last words? We got 11 a.m. We got 11 p.m. cutoff for the panel.
Yep, man. Shout out to the chat. Thank you for rocking with us, man. Every Thursday you guys show up, and we really, really, truly appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Any last words?
Queen, thanks for being the hostess with the mostest. This show doesn't happen without you. You are the brains behind the operation. Ajay and I just follow orders, and Jerrell as well. So, but it's always a pleasure to chat. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Thursday and rocking with us. We appreciate you, and keep commenting, because I learned so much from what you guys say and your opinions, and the diversity of thought is what strengthens all of our opinions. So continue to, disagree, just as long as it's done respectfully.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Ajay?
Yeah, man. Queen, always a pleasure rocking with you, Geoff, Jerrell, Delusional Knicks, and special thanks to the callers, to the people who called, man. Always, always thank you for that. The chat, A Train. Like, listen, we don't want to say names because there's like so many of them. You miss a few. Some people they'd say like, yeah, we okay with it, but they don't like when you don't shout them out. I know sometimes we try to say all the names, but definitely shout out to the chat for coming through. And always rocking with us, man. And listen, turn on your notifications. That way, when we like out of the blue, start a show, you guys get notified, because we do that sometimes, man.
I agree with the East Blue Drew. Ajay, get out there and give us a couple rebounds, please.
For sure. Geoff, I appreciate
definitely.
you. Ajay, I appreciate you holding me down. Jerrell, who couldn't be here tonight, hopefully we'll see him next week. Everything is okay with the fam.
Yep.
Holding me down since the beginning. Boogie when he's here. Delusional.
Yes.
Tsunami. We go way back in the archives, And Stafford, who I haven't heard from. Hopefully, everything is good with him. And shout out to the chat. We appreciate you rocking with us. I'll be back Monday on Nothing But Knicks on the Queen's Court. Me, Geoff, Lady and the Chef from Two Knicks Chicks, and Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises. So be sure to check us out there. Then we'll be back here Thursday. And to Ajay's point, keep that notification on. Ever so often, we may decide, we're gonna do a pop-up show. We might pop up Sunday. Who knows?
We might pop up Sunday, depending on how that game go on Saturday.
Exactly.
Or if the front office make a move, that's an automatic show right there. So
that's an automatic show. Yeah. 2 weeks to the trade deadline. 2 weeks to this Thursday, if I'm not.
I think that's right. February 6th, I know is the date for sure. I don't know. I don't have my phone out to see my calendar, but it's definitely February 6th.
Yeah, I'm gonna be away for 2 weeks. Actually, I'll be landing in Ghana that morning, February 6th. So I'll still have my notifications. I'll still have my notifications on.
Ajay gonna have to run the show while Queen's out.
It's cool, and I'll be texting her too. I'll be bringing her the news headline.
Right.
Well, just as soon as you step on that plane, the Knicks are gonna do something big. And
I know.
Didn't that happen when
Queen? That happened. You when some trade went down. You were in the movie.
Was it Dante? When we got Dante or something like that. I'm not sure, but a trade went down and I was somewhere and I was getting all these texts and I looked. It's like, oh my god! And we ran and had a show. I think it was when we signed Dante DiVincenzo.
No, was it or was it OG Anunoby? I think it was OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
I think it was the OG trade. Yeah,
it was the OG. Okay.
It was the OG trade.
Okay. Yeah. I guess Dante wouldn't send us to a breaking.
No, but Dante.
It was in the summer anyway.
It was in the summer.
Pressure in the summertime.
Right.
Summer.
Anyway, until next time, family. We appreciate you.
Peace.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you shine. Don't talk.
Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
Where you at?
Great